Hello and welcome to another episode of the Health Chat. I'm your host, Vicky Tsoleridis, and I'm joined by my effervescent co-host, Rick Hay, who will be doing most of the talking today because we are talking about a topic that he knows so much on. We're talking about spring cleaning, not just your internals, but also around your home and your environment. Now, Rick knows this topic like the back of his hand as he was a lecturer at the College of Naturopathic Medicine in London, and he focused on detox and cleansing and sustainable weight management. And this podcast is a teaser to our more in-depth podcast for next month, where we focus on cellular cleansing. So this is like an intro, it's like a baby to the mother version. So let's get started on some simple detox tips with Rick. Hi, Rick.
Hey, I can promise you some nice cleansing tips from my years of lecturing, but I don't know about how much effervescence you're going to get. But maybe we need to do one on increasing effervescence. I could certainly be at the front of the queue, as most of my friends and family would attest. But yeah, let's start off by saying, it's spring. People are looking to cleanse. It's pretty big on in the health world to do some sort of cleanse, some sort of detox, some sort of fast. But I just want to say, before you go running in or clients go running in to do a cleanse, that perhaps we just identify what underlying conditions are there and whether the cleanse is in fact suitable, or at least a heavy cleanse is in fact suitable. So have a little look at the conditions that may be that the patient may be suffering from, or if you're a member of the public that you may be suffering from yourself, and see whether that needs attention first, because going ho into a very heavy cleanse is maybe not the best if your underlying condition is causing you a lot of discomfort. Having said that, I like to start off, and when I did my lectures in London, I always talked about something called the tune-up, and that tune-up meant maybe just before we go and run the marathon, we get the body ready. So I've got some easy detox tips, and then end up with actually a detox kit for people who want to do it a little bit deeper. But first of all, you can start off any sort of cleanse by, as you said in the intro, looking environmentally. Let's have a look around the house. Let's have a look in the car. Do you have any of those fragrances that are artificial at home, turned on the electric sockets that perhaps you don't need, for example? What are your cleaning products like? What are the products you're putting on your skin like? Do you need a water filter? Do you need clean water? I'm going quickly through all these, what bathroom products do you use? But you get the gist. Let's have a little look at the house and what we're putting on ourselves. Otherwise, we do the cleanse and we kind of get some results for it, but not the best. And then, of course, we have to mention at the very beginning, you can't sort of cleanse well if you're not sleeping, really. So let's make sure that you get that sleep under control at the same time. Some relaxation methods which go hand in hand. I'm looking at the totality here. And I'm not saying that you go straight into a very heavy exercise program, because exercise will help you with cleansing, especially rebounding, skipping, trampolining, heel and calf raises, that sort of things that get that jerky movement. But doing some exercise is a good idea. The body was designed to move, and you'll get better results with the body if you do your cleanse in line with some gentle exercise. Please don't start off watching something on YouTube that is for someone who's been doing, CrossFit for 2 years, and then you try to do it, because it's not going to get us anywhere. Been there, done that, by the way. And then all you can do is not move. And then you don't care about your cleanse. Then you don't care about your diet. Everything goes out the window. But let's start something simple. And let's start with one of the teas that we have in our range here at Oborne Health Supplies, which is a Reigniting native detox tea. Now, this has lemon myrtle in it, a little bit of ginger, some beetroot and some mint. And it's all about, settling down the discomfort of the digestive system, helping the microbiome. Without a healthy microbiome, trying to do a cleanse isn't that great. So prebiotics, probiotics, fermented foods, all that sort of thing are important as an adjunct. But you can just start off with the teas. Now, the reason I mentioned tea is you can do a little tea cleanse. You might not be able to say it, but you can do it. And that tea, because I was talking about detox, that's why it came out wrong, didn't it? Do a detox. That's a thing, isn't it? That's actually. So anyway, I like the teas because you might think, I'm not all in. I'm not all in for the kit. I'm not all in for the fasting. My life is too busy. But I'm suggesting, what about we just help that digestion a little bit, maybe help the liver and the kidneys a bit with some traditional herbs that are going to start you on that process. So this is a really nice option with your teas. Of course, there are many options out there in the marketplace. This is one of the ones that I recommend with, as I said, the lemon myrtle, the beetroot, the ginger, and the mint. And then I'm going to go on to something, if you're still listening, I haven't bored you to tears, I want to talk about juices. Now, everyone who's seen or heard anything about me, you poor things, know that I talk a lot about juice and juicing. Not extreme juicing, and not extreme juicing fast without it being done under the supervision, maybe at a retreat or something, or with your healthcare practitioner, but just getting more juices, and also I include in the juice section soups into your diet at the time of a cleanse or a detox. Now, I've got one here from Biota, and they have several juices in our range, but I've gone with the vegetable cocktail, which has got the beetroot, the carrot, and it also has the tomato in it. Had a problem remembering the tomato, even though it's red. That was the one that was almost gone out of the brain. But the reason I like the juices is that in one of these juices, when you're getting a juice such as this one, the quality like this, it represents one of your 5 a day. Now, if you're not going to increase your colourful intake of foods whilst you're doing a cleanse or a juice, then you're on the wrong track. So the plate needs to be colourful, more plant-based foods, maybe some plant-based proteins in your smoothies as well, gets you on that right track. And where does that go? And I will be coming to Vicky in a second. I realise if you listen and she's your favourite, which probably she is, with good reason, is that I'm just going to go on to my next thing and then let Vicky come into and have a starring role. I want to talk just about the fibre, because I talked about the soup, the cold pressed juices that you can do. You can do them at home. The juices where you put maybe a little bit of the smoothies where you get the fibre and the plant-based proteins in there. So if you want to enhance your fibre intake with supplements, Oborne Health have Fibertone. Now, this has got St. Mary's thistle, which is a well-known liver herb, together with some dandelion, which is a little bit more gentle. You can have dandelion tea or coffee as well to start your spring cleanse. It also has taurine phase 2 detox assistance and some glycine in there as well. And it's got psyllium husk, which is the hero ingredient. Now, psyllium husk is also referred to as intestinal broom. So that's why I say start gently with it. But if you want to start giving that body a spring cleanse, you could just do the juice, more juice, and take some fibre, some tea and take some fibre. It's a nice, gentle way. You don't have to go the whole hog, so to speak. You can just do this, and this will give you some benefits. Regularity is the first step to cleansing. So if you're not regular and, going to the toilet once or twice a day with ease, without the problem of a lot of mess, without needing to use lots and lots of toilet paper, then this is something that may assist you. So I'm a big fan of those 3 things: the tea, the juice, and the fibre, to start off with a nice, gentle tune-up before you get into your real detox.
I mean, everyone knows we're obsessed with fibre, don't they? I've got my favourites and everyone's got theirs. And what I like about that formula is you can mix that in with that Biota juice, right? What I like about it is that when I'm travelling, I just buy a bottle from the health food store and I keep that in the fridge of my hotel room, and I'll have half a cup in the morning and half a cup in the evening. And that sort of contributes towards my healthy lifestyle when I'm unable to get fresh fruit and vegetables. But what's really important is that the Biota range are purely organic and there's no pesticides, which is really, really important, because the pesticides, now I'm talking about DDT, which is no longer used in Australia or in America or some countries. But DDT was found to remain in the body for up to 50 years. So that the long-term effect of some of these pesticides are not well understood. So it's important to know what you're buying and look at the country of origin and whether or not some of those pesticides are used or not used in those countries. And I'm very aware now when I go to the shops and I'm looking at, something that I wish to consume, not just where the country of origin is, but what sort of ingredients they're using. Are they organic? Do they have any sprays on them? So it's worth investigating that too. Otherwise, it's such a shame. You're consuming something and then that seems to have more of a harmful effect than what you realize.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I meant to say in the introduction about the fruit and vegetable washes that we have at Oborne, EnviroClean and Abode, both do a fruit and veggie wash. Now, if you're not buying organic, it gives you the opportunity to wash your veggies and wash your fruit and get them, clean into your system, because that's true. You want to take in the cleanest possible version of whatever you're putting in. And the other thing we touched on the last podcast was that, ultra processed foods. Now, sometimes a lot of the stuff in our foods now, the labels are so big. Now, a lot of that, if you're choosing a wholesome food, can be all natural products, but have a look at the labels and have a bit of take some time. I do find I'm guilty as well, even though I've been a nutritionist for many years, of sometimes not looking at the label close enough because I can't be bothered. Life gets in the way. It's terrible. Life gets in the way, and it sounds terrible to admit it, but it's the truth. And I will spend more time looking for my Netflix show that I'm going to watch than I might, or my streaming platform show, than I will at my labels. And I was thinking that the other day, especially now that I am not as young as I used to be, I'm looking for this next part of my life to try and, be as healthy as I can. And I think you touched on something when we were speaking, when we weren't recording, about doing your detox or doing your cleansing every day as part of your life. And I think that's a way to go, isn't it? Getting your colourful foods in there, making sure that you're looking at the label, using your fruit and vegetable washes, staying hydrated. It's a good start, because everybody thinks you have to go and do this detailed detox, which you can do and get some benefits from. But I do think there's a lot to be said for the daily mini detox and mindset for that, rather than I'm just going to do it in spring, or I'm going to do it for New Year. It takes a little more willpower, but once you start off, you probably get the better effects, I think.
True. So you've touched on like the kidneys, the urinary system, you've touched on the digestive system. What other systems do you have for detox?
Well, I want to talk a little bit, specifically about the liver, because if we don't talk about the liver and people are tuning in for detox, they'll probably go, oh, goodness gracious. But we want to talk about liver, and I want to talk about Liver Tone Plus. And I've gone again with a Oborne Health product, because in this sphere, they're well known for detox protocols. Dr. Sandra Cabot's protocols have been around for a while, and they've been proven, and people get great results from them. So I want to go with Liver Tone Plus. And the reason I chose this one is you may not want to take the fibre capsules, but you may want to give the liver a bit of a boost, and you can do this. It's got St. Mary's thistle in there again, the hero botanical when it comes to liver. The liver does like anything bitter, so you can do it with foods like chicory, endive, rocket, etc. Anything that's got that bitter edge to it will help the liver. Often when you've got a sweet craving, you have something slightly bitter, the sweet craving will go away. So I like that it's got the St. Mary's thistle in there. Again, it's got the taurine in there as well to help with the phase 2 detoxification, but it's also got the B vitamins, and those B vitamins I think are important if you're going to give that liver a bit of a poke. So St. Mary's thistle will do that. It will do it gently, and I think it's a nice place to start. It's very protective as well for the liver, helps it recover and regenerate, and that's what you certainly want. If you're not in the best of health, if you're feeling really sluggish and you're a little bit under the weather, maybe start with half the dose and then build up. Remember, if you cleanse too quickly, often the skin can bear the brunt of it, and you can throw out some stuff in the skin, so you could end up some rashes, or your acne might end up worse, or you might worsen psoriasis or other skin conditions, with the skin being an organ of elimination as well. So I say nice and gentle with these. But these are nice ones. And I think, again, you could do a standalone mini cleanse just with this liver product. You could also investigate the botanicals a little bit further, ones like Schizandra that give you nervous system support, but help with a liver cleanse as well. So if you remember the public, talk to your practitioner. If you're a practitioner, you'll know your array of liver herbs. But you can also get up a specific mix made for you, a nice liver mix that has 3, 4, 5 herbs in them from your naturopath or herbalist, if you want to go down that route. Moving on from the liver herbs themselves, and we talked about the bitterness that the liver lights, which is why most botanicals have some positive effect on the liver when we use them in the liquids. But I have to talk about the super greens, yeah, and in specifically in this case about the hero. I've got Life Spring Chlorella and Synergy Natural Chlorella here. They're two of the chlorellas that we have in both tablet, veggie cap, and powdered range in our arsenal at Oborne. But chlorella is well known for heavy metal detox. But when you look at it, that deep green pigments that we've talked a lot about on the health chat are important because they're going to be rich in chlorophyll, and that in itself will help you to start on your cleansing and help you with energy. But the greens, what they do, like the juice, is they give you that contribution towards your 5 a day. I take them every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, actually, and I vary the ones I take. So I might take spirulina for a month, and then I might do some wheatgrass. The body likes change, and then I'll go into chlorella. If you don't want to start off with something as heavy with chlorella, with heavy metal detox as well, you could just go gently on the spirulina front and do that, or the barley grass. They're all wonderful in that area of helping the body naturally to cleanse. So two of my favorites, a lot of information online about chlorella and how it helps. It's been a buzzword, and online there's been the liquid chlorophyll, which is also an option, and we have Nature's Sunshine liquid chlorophyll at Oborne as well, if you like to purchase that to help you again with your cleansing. We've certainly got lots of options, and that's a liquid chlorophyll is obviously an option if you'd like something liquid to add into your juice.
I love that one too, because it's great for people who've got bad breath or severe body odor.
Yeah. It settles everything down. Again, though, go gently. Build up. Yeah. And but a nice one. And you can see, I've mentioned before that I was lucky enough to study with a naturopath who was also a biochemist and worked with him for many years. And he always said to me, and I say it all the time when I'm talking to students, anything that stains the pigments is going to be good for you and good for your clients. And you look at that green, deep green pigmentation and the green juices that we get from those super greens, they're good. You intuitively know that they're going to help your body. And I love them. And then when you combine it with the super reds as well, you're really on a good path to helping the body along.
That's really true. And it's interesting because I remember when I first graduated and I would see patients, and most people wanted to do this detox. It was a huge thing, and it probably still is. And I wasn't such a huge fan. And I guess it was because I didn't feel that I needed to, because I was constantly doing this as part of my everyday life. I was having green tea, or I still do. I eat really clean. I make sure that I buy organic where possible. I don't have too much toxic overload in terms of what I put on my skin, even how I wash my clothes. And so there is some that may ask, well, do I really need to do this? And, if we were living the same life that we did, tens of thousands of years ago, because our bodies really are fabulously equipped to handle day-to-day detoxification, but we're eating much differently, a lot more differently to the way that our ancestors ate. We don't forage for berries, we don't eat wild-caught fish, or most people don't, and we don't sweat daily through exercise, and we don't really sleep as well as we used to, or drink filtered water. And so because of this shift, especially in the 25 years between the 1970s and the 1990s, the amount of synthetic chemicals that have been produced tripled in that time. And that's massive. So when you think about anything before that, our body probably was capable of detoxifying whatever came its way. But now, the moral of the story is that unfortunately these chemicals are everywhere. They're not just preservatives in our food or the pesticides, but they're also the colorings and the cosmetics. They're fire retardants that are used in our clothes, on our mattresses, on our furniture. They're in contaminants in our water supply. So these synthetic chemicals make up most of the ingredients that are in our cleaning products, and they even sneak their way into prescription medication. And so we need to look at, where are all these things coming from? It's not just from eating, it's from everywhere. And so for me, taking something like the Sandra Cabot tablets that you mentioned, I prescribe them a lot for people who are starting a cleanse and we want to work gently. So I usually use that with a tea. But as we move into this space and we explore more products, especially next week, we can dive really deep. But these ones are perfect for someone that just wants to do something and incorporate in there every day. Yeah.
And, probably one of the questions that you got, and I used to get a lot when I had my practice in Sydney a long time ago, was, do I need to do a detox or do I need to do a cleanse? And my answer was most of us, could do with some sort of cleansing, given the stresses that you talked about on the body, and also given the amount of stress that we're just under in a faster paced world, with technology, I think, impacting our downtime so much more than our poor adrenals. They're just, they're sort of fried for many people. But one of the things I always used to say, if you're chugging along, and I used to ask people to give me a score out of 10 for most of their body systems, and then an overall score out of 10, so that I had some idea of where they were, do that top to toe evaluation. And you can do it for yourself at home, a top to toe evaluation of each system and see where you're placed, because we often don't even take the time in life to do that. But a lot of people would say to me, oh yeah, Rick, well, I just sit around a 5 or a 6 out of 10. Well, you're kind of not meant to be there. If you're not sort of at about an 8 out of 10, then you may need to look at some changes to get you there. That may not happen overnight. But, I find also, particularly for women out there who may be undertaking so many different roles in their life, of the caregiver, primary, as well as working, as well as maybe caring not just for kids but for their elderly parents, which I'm witnessing a lot of my friends do. And so what I want to say is, if you're sitting at that 8 out of 10, then fine, that's pretty good. There's always a little bit of room. But if you're not, if you're around that 5 or 6 and you're very sluggish, some of these things may just help you, as may, looking into our, coenzyme Q10 products, as long as you're not on blood thinners, looking at products that can help you with your, your energy that we've talked about on our other podcasts and things like that. There's ways back, but certainly a cleanse is there. It's an option. And I want to then move now to something which will make a lot of people happy, because they may have seen the podcast advertised and thought, oh, you just told me teas and juices and fiber and, a liver capsule. It's not that exciting. But you could do something like the Nature Sunshine Easy Detox. I like this one because it takes all the guesswork out for both the practitioner and also for the member of the public, if you want to embark on a detox. Now, what it's got, I'm just going to pop my glasses on so I don't forget any of them. So what this kit contains is a liquid chlorophyll that we spoke about earlier, the deep green pigments that are going to help you, body odor, bad breath, etc., digestive dysfunction. It's also got a liver formula, which is a LivGB, a lower bowel stimulant. So we spoke about the need for regularity, together with the activated charcoal to help with bloating and flatulence relief. So it's an all-in-one. Now, you can start off just by maybe taking one of these products if you are very sluggish, or you could follow it as directed, or as directed by your healthcare practitioner, and do the steps in the detox protocol, follow it step by step. Or, as I said, start off gently. Now, so if you want to do the very easy way, step 1 is 1 of each capsule daily with a meal. Step 2 is the liquid chlorophyll as directed. And step 3 is to drink more or less of the items listed according to the green or the red symbol. So that makes it simple. That makes it easy to follow. And I like something that's easy to follow. And in fact, step 1 was 1 of each capsule with every meal, but you've got the box and you'll be able to follow that yourself if you want the healthy, easy detox that I've turned upside down, on its side and around. It's sort of what the body goes through when we're cleansing, doesn't it? So it's nice to call it ending, really. Yeah. That was very well scripted on my behalf, I think. Our next podcast, we're going to go deeper into more cellular health, talk a little bit about some of the new stuff that's come out. We talked about biohacking before, but we'll delve back in. Cellular health is where it's all going. And people now want to get into that, especially to age well, that anti-aging sphere that's there. So your cleansing can lead you into that aging well, which is what Vicky was saying she does every day, which is, look after yourself as though you were on a cleanse every day, mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
And with your treats, don't give up on everything. I suppose we should touch on as well, although we have, you're going to get, cleansing benefits also from intermittent fasting. You're going to get it from fasting odd days. You're going to get it from reduced fasting as long as they're not too extreme. So there is fasting, and we might touch on that in the next podcast as well, because it's a bit of a long topic to do at the end of this one.
Rick, could you just, for our listeners, give them a bit of insight as to how would they know if they need to do something like this? What would be some of the signs or symptoms they could look out for in their body?
Yeah, I think first of all, look at the health of your skin. Yeah, if your skin is looking, not the best compared to what it was, it's not vibrant, or you're getting a lot of breakouts or something, then that's, I think, a pretty good indication. Look at your digestive system behavior. Are you suffering from indigestion, cramping, excess flatulence, bloating, and all that? That's often a sign of a microbiome and dysbiosis, a microbiome that's out of balance. Are you not going to the toilet regularly? Some people assume that going to the toilet every third day is enough. That's not a great bowel transit time. Bowel transit, in my opinion, should be probably twice a day, once a day for some people. Everybody's a little bit different. You can check your bowel transit by eating some corn or drinking some beetroot juice and seeing how long both of those take to show up in the change of colour in the toilet bowl, or the corn will come on through. But bowel transit is a good indicator as well. I think as well, a sign that you might need a cleanse is that if you are sluggish, if you are more sluggish than normal, and you are really lacking in energy, that's a sign that you may need more nutrients, number one, or that your stress levels might be a little bit high, and a cleanse could help them alongside nervous system support. And I think the other thing, which often people miss, is if you're irritable, if you're feeling pretty damn angry, and you're whether it be your family or your co-workers or just anyone, road rage, you're suddenly finding yourself being more vocal, even if it's internal vocalization, then I think you need to look at that. So lots of different reasons. Your body will give you the examples, and some of them can be that psychological behavior where you just are getting a bit like a little dog yapping at people's feet. That's a time where you just go, right, I might need a little rest, just sum myself up perfectly.
And tell me, how long should someone do a cleanse for? What's your sort of ritual on duration?
That really varies. I think if your body's not in great shape, start with a 48-hour one, even a 24-hour one, just to get yourself ready, and then do maybe a longer one. Generally, a week or two, is a nice amount of time. I'd like to see people, if you're, not going to do something every day, a week or two every quarter. I don't think a detox is something that has to be done just in spring. And I'd like to propose that when you do that, you try to eat a little bit more seasonally. Goodness knows what that is. You have to Google what seasonal foods are. I have to now as well, because everything's now so available. I don't even know anymore. I look in the garden and I think, oh God, look, that's fruiting in my fruit and vegetable section, or budding. Then I know it's the season for it. But eating seasonally as well. But I think, do you stick with about that 1 to 2 week mark? Is that something that you would?
I do.
Yeah.
Like, there are 3-week ones, but I also tell people, just be aware that if your diet has been very good up until that point, then you're probably not going to have that healing crisis severely that happens, once you're immersed into it by the 3rd or 4th day. But with what Rick has suggested today, it's unlikely that people will feel quite irritable in the time of doing a cleanse, because they're very gentle. They're like a little nudge. I think that's the best way to say it, isn't it? It's a little nudge into the cleanse.
Yeah, and a nice way to start. And remember, I like to end finding by saying stay hydrated. Really important to stay hydrated whilst you're embarking on any cleanse. Get that fluid up, but make sure it's filtered water or glass bottled water. But yeah, that hydration is really important. Especially if you're going to have extra fiber. If you don't get those water levels up, you're not going to get the benefits, and you may get headaches and things like that. And that's certainly not what we want.
And there may be some people that are asking, so is there a test that I could do? I know there's the hair mineral tissue analysis. Do you know of any others, Rick?
No, that's a good one to do, I think. I mean, look, if your practitioner is into tongue diagnosis, it's good to show them your tongue, your nails, that sort of having a look at what the body's presenting in those two areas are good. Also, you might like to, if your practitioner does something like iridology, where you look into the iris of the eye and the colour part of the eye and see what that's showing. I find that, a very useful tool. So something you can ask your practitioners about if you're a member of the public, to look at those things, and that they'll know from the nails, the eye, and the tongue. I like those physical little cues that the body gives us.
No, you're absolutely right. They are great indicators for the state of health that you're in at that moment in time. Whereas the hair mineral analysis, it does take some hair from the back, and then they take some out and they analyze it. But that's what's happened in the past, not necessarily what you're experiencing at that moment in time.
But very useful because it takes a lot of guesswork out and makes it easier for prescribing as well.
Oh, yeah, that is true. There's a very basic introduction into a spring cleanse. Thank you so much, Rick, for sharing your knowledge with us today.
Thank you. And both Vicky and I will be off to study, ready for our deeper dive next time.
Thanks a lot, Rick. Until then.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.